Hi, my name is Věroš Kaplan. I have some Twitter. I'm posting some pictures from Bratislava to it, and sometimes something about tech. And I'm here to talk about Kubernetes operators in Python. Well, about me, I'm a freelance server administrator. In fact, I started my career as a Python developer somewhere in the last century. And I found that Python is a really cool tool. It's a really nice programming language. I'm still using it. And when I'm given a task, how to please do something, then I'm trying to do it with Python, because I don't know any other language as good as Python. So I'm using Python. So I'm playing with servers, and at the moment I'm a freelancer, and with my colleagues we are deploying and running applications for our clients. And we are in Kubernetes community days, and so I'm here because we are doing the deployment of our clients' applications on Kubernetes. You probably already saw this image. It's a Kubernetes. It's, as somebody told a few talks before, Kubernetes, it's a big playground, and you can use the small pieces to put some platform, to put the pieces together and create some great platform. And this is what we are doing at the moment. Well, there was a great talk about operators. How do operators in Kubernetes work? How do operators in Kubernetes work? What they are doing? So we can talk about it maybe, or maybe we can skip this. Well. And I would like to talk about my use case about Python and Kubernetes operators. We have a customer, or we had a customer, he asked us, I would like just to run some Python scripts somewhere. I would just like one Python script and then stop, and when the script is done, I would like to throw it away and just run another. He didn't want to persist the output. He didn't need to keep the sources. He just wanted to start the script and continue and go away. So, at the time, we just found Kubernetes. And do you know now the principle of hammer? When you have a hammer, then everything in your vicinity looks like a nail. So say, well, we have a cool tool. We have Kubernetes. We are going to use Kubernetes. So. And when you want to start one Kubernetes pod with Python, it can be done in this way. You will just start pod. You have to name it. You have to put some env Python application. You have to provide application to the pod, and it's a lot of YAML. Oh, I see a lot of YAMLs. So, and I don't like YAMLs very much. So, and I said, well, so bad. The idea, and I was thinking, it would be nice if it would be nice to have some simple Kubernetes object. I will just put some Python code into Kubernetes. Some magic is then will happen, and the code will be run. So, is it possible? Yes, it's possible. It's possible. There is a Kubernetes operator. At that time, I found again principle of hammer. At that time, I found Kubernetes operators and custom resources, and I said, well, it would be really good if we can create some custom resource. It will be called, for example, Python job or Python script. We will put some Python code into the custom resource, and the operator will start the job, or will create pods, and it will do the black work in the background. So, for the people which weren't present in the morning, operator concept, operator pattern is when should work in like an image. I would like to run some container with Python. It's here. This is a container which will be managed by Python, and just to get the container running, I can do it either manually. I don't want. We saw the YAML, or we can hire the operator. The guy inside is the operator. Operator is somebody who is given task. Please do this, and he or it will do the tasks for us. So there was when we started writing operators, there was presentation in the morning. The guy showed us we can use Go, we can use Java, we can use some operator framework and so on. It's possible to write operators in a pure Python. When you have your Kubernetes API, it has some definition. I don't know, it's called probably Open API specification or something like that. And there is a Python module called Kubernetes, and all the objects which are defined in the Kubernetes API specification are present in the Python module. So you can. This is an example for my very first try how to do a Python operator. We tried to modify some ingresses. So in Python, it means just open networking API. Okay, please get all objects from the API. This is the control loop. Please open all objects or list or watch all objects or ingress objects in all namespaces from the network API, and do some loop. This looks too much or too close to the Go approach. We just have to do the loop ourselves. It's ugly. It worked. It probably works. It probably still works because we forgot to update it at the customer side. But this is ugly. I don't know. Is anybody here who knows Python or who is using Python? Thank you very much. Do you know Zen of Python? There is a Zen hidden in the Python. When you ask Python, please import this, it will write 10 commandments of Python. And one of the commandments of Python is beautiful is better than ugly. Well, this is ugly. This looks like Go or some low-level language. So I was thinking it would be nice if there would be some more Pythonic API for operators. And there is. There is Kubernetes operator, there is Kopf. It's a shortcut from Kubernetes operators framework. It has some web pages. It has some documentation. It's on GitHub. The life of the Kubernetes of the Kopf started at Zalando. At the moment, Zalando left it. Some guy from Germany takes care of the Kopf, and he still releases new versions. So I hope it will work for some time. And the Kopf is a Pythonic way how to do a Python operators. For me, well, at the end of this talk, I will tell you that we created a useful operator in 200 lines of code, which was really impressive to me when I counted that. So, and how we achieved that. So, the basic Kopf concepts are there are hooks and handlers. When the operator, it doesn't matter if I wrote it in Go, or in Java, or in Python. It just should watch some Kubernetes API objects, and when the object changes its state, something should happen. So, for example, I would like to watch creation of object Python job. So I will create a Python function. The function should be named, for example, onUpCreate. And I use Python decorator from Kopf, and it's called Kopf on create. And here, API group, API version, API plural. These are the strings. There should be, I don't know. There should be our API group, version, and name of the object. And the Kopf starts. The Kopf framework starts with my program. And when new custom resource object with this plural is created, then this function is called. So for me, it's really convenient because I don't have to write some ugly loops. I can bind the Kopf to multiple object types. I don't have to take care about, for example, coroutines and threads or some ugly low-level tasks. I will just say, well, when a new object is created, call this. This is a hook, or the concept. The Kopf concept, basic Kopf concepts are hooks and handlers, and this is on. Well, if you want to copy it or reproduce it, the demo is already on GitHub. So this QR code, this is on my GitHub. It's my favorite code because I get 3 stars on GitHub. And there is also README, so you can try to use it. And I should start Minikube. Minikube. I will start a new Minikube. Just to talk. Just to have talk. Let's use the demo. I should. At the beginning, well, it would be. I would like to create a new object with new custom resource, which is called Python app. It has some API version. It's our company, and we won. And my wish is that I create this object. The source is probably linked to the config map. Image name is image I would like to start. Python image I would like to use for starting the script. And time limit seconds, it's a timeout which should be set on the final job. So this is a job. So is it started? No. I forgot to start Minikube before the talk. When I create this new object, Kopf isn't able, or I don't know if it's possible, but I haven't found at the moment a way how to create custom resource definitions. So I have create my custom resource definition in the beginning. Starting, nice. I create this object, and then it started, great. And then I run my Kopf. Kopf is similar to Flask or something, or it's some main program. I say run this script, and work for all namespaces. And Kopf starts, and when it finds a new Python app, it creates a new job. The new job, it's a Kubernetes native controller. It spins up a new pod. When the job is finished, I will update the Python application object again, saying it's finished. So at the beginning, I should create custom resource definition. So let's start. Yes, I need to start virtual env. This is Python Magic, which is de facto standard. Now, I already prepared Kopf. I already installed it to my virtual env, so I can use it. And now I should create let's check the cheat sheet. Let's check the cheat sheet, this one. So at the beginning, I should create a custom resource definition. So I created new object, name it Python app. So show me, explain, Python apps. It's there. It has some specifications and so on. So now I should start conf. Okay. Conf main verbose. I'm starting it verbose just to show more bells and whistles. Well, it starts conf. There is some. It's the core of the operator frameworks. Core of the operator framework. It does a lot of things for me. A lot of features for me. And now I can create the object. So create kube control, apply, f manifests hello world. We can check that at hello world hello world. There is a config map saying just a small script which says hello world, sleeps for 10 seconds, and then it says goodbye world. And then there is an object Python app which is doing all the magic. So create kube code. Now I'm starting the hello world, and you can see that the conf operator wakes up. It says well, something like where it is. It says well, here is some new object named Python app started. And what happens next? You can see Python app exists. Kube control get Python app. It's there. The operator, my operator creates a new job. The job itself starts a port, and we can check the logs of the object, and it worked easy. So what happened in the background? As I told before, there are only hooks and handlers. So when new application, new custom resource was created, the on upgrade was called, so the Python code found, well, we have a new object, and conf provides us with some helpers, and one of the helpers is named event, and we can say, you can check kube control, describe Python app hello world, and you can see that some event was created. You see? So it's from the operator itself. We can also call the Kubernetes API. So when we found an event, some object was created, yes. So we can check from the Python code, we can check state of the object, of the custom resource object, and I checked here. Well, is there annotation with the job name, and when the job of the Python, when the Kubernetes job relating to the Python job wasn't created at the moment, I just create that. The conf provides us with some help tools, some helpers, we can easily access the annotations, the metadata of the objects. We can access them in a Pythonic way. So these are converted to Python objects, which is really helpful. So you would like to create a new object. Creating new object for the new object of the type job. Here, when I create a new object, I'm using Kubernetes API. I will just call it client batch API, called create namespace job, and it's created. Again, it's nice in Python. In Kubernetes, we can use owner references. Owner references are bindings between Kubernetes objects. When I would like Kubernetes to delete Python the Kubernetes job when my Python job is deleted. To achieve this, I should set the owner reference. Can say kube control get job, kube control edit job. We can see I would like to create owner references like this. In the raw Kubernetes API, it's ugly to set these objects. In conf, I will just say, please adopt that object. It just says the references. The conf itself is able to handle not only the custom resources I'm working with, it's also be bound to, for example, jobs or to standard Kubernetes objects. It can do some filtering. So when the job itself is finished, I can take the results of the job and put it to my custom resource. Yes, it's able to do some patch, and you see the job is done. This all simple proof of concept Python operator for running Python scripts took me about 190 lines of code, which is pretty impressive to me. Because, well, in Go, it would take me much longer time and probably more code than this. So, what conf can do for us? It has built-in change detection. So when my handler is woken or has been woken up because some change of the object, conf sends me also a change object, so I can see what was changed, which fields are changed. It provides us with timers, so I can ask conf, please, I felt at the moment, wake me up in 1 hour or in a few seconds, and it can also handle retries for me. So that's at the moment. That's end of my talk. And probably now it's time for questions and answers. So, yeah, it still runs.
Yeah, we have two
questions. What is better than YAML?
Yeah, in the beginning of the presentation, you stated you basically
I don't like YAML.
hate YAML.
No, I never told. I don't like it.
Yeah, you don't like it, but you have to use it.
It's like potatoes. No, it's like tomatoes. I don't like them, but I don't hate them.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, YAML it's ugly, but at the moment it's probably the best we have. So we will
inevitable. Yeah.
But I don't know. Well, at least it's better than JSON. Okay. Compared to JSON and XML, YAML is great. Well,
okay.
How did you create CRD? Well, when people asked me what I'm doing, I'm telling them I'm copy and paste engineer. I'm copying code from the internet and pasting it into their systems. I just build deployment. Is there? CRDs. I just copied some CRD that looked nice to me, modified it according to documentation, and it worked. So I expect that it's okay until somebody.
Can I continue? Because it's,
yes.
What is the difference between Golang I don't hate dynamic language for
Yes.
business logic, I can say, because many programs can create. Golang, you create structures and you generate CRD, so you have one-to-one definitions.
Great.
But you don't have this in the Python. So
Good point.
for me, it is a little dangerous because second question maybe for this, you directly create some resource, but I didn't see which versions of the API you use. And Kubernetes support multiple API for kinds. And this can create some problems maybe if you don't know what you're doing.
Yes, if you are definitely true. Well, I don't know, or I'm not able to write in Go as good code as in Python. So, and it takes me. I started the COP for creating proof of concept of code. It worked. It worked good. It was good enough. So we stayed with that. For me, the COP is really convenient that I can stay in Python, and I'm probably much faster using the helpers that COP provides me than doing it in a pure Go. So for me, the selling point for COP is a speed of prototyping. Well, the great disadvantage, is there no question for disadvantages? Well, COP is a Python, so it means the image will have probably 50 or 100 megabytes, which is much bigger than the Go-based operators. The operators in Go, I expect it will be at least 10 or 20 megabytes, probably smaller. Is it? So this is a disadvantage of the Python operator, or the COP operators. But well, in our company, most of people can read Python, and only 1.5% can read Go.
It doesn't make sense for me.
Okay.
The half person, or?
Okay. So it has some advantages. It has some disadvantages. But the helpers are really convenient, like the hooks and so on.
Cool. Thank you for the question. We've got one from Tomato. Do you run your COP in VMs bare metal or? Well,
the COP itself is a Python program, so for the demonstration, for the demo, I run it on my laptop outside the cluster. In production, we run it in the cluster alongside the workload it takes care of. So I don't know, it was probably some cloud. I don't remember. Well.
Yeah, in the end, it's VM, yeah. Any other question in the audience? Okay, well, we can leave it. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Oh, you can destroy it.